Hey guys, welcome to our game podcast. How have you guys been? I hope you guys are doing okay. I hope you guys are doing fine. Alright, welcome to my podcast. Welcome to my show. This is Gary. Alright, for those who are here for the first time, welcome. I hope you enjoy your stay. For those who have been here for more than once, I'm sorry. I've been repeating the intro. It sounds so familiar all the time. It's the same thing over and over again. I know you guys have been a little bit tired of this, right? I think I'll come up with a new one. I don't know when. But hopefully, I can come up with a new way of calling you guys in. I know some of you are a little bit tired of this intro. Well, I guess I really should come up with a new one. I don't know. Well, how is your day, guys? How is your day? How's your week? I had an okay week. Okay, maybe not okay. I don't know. I have this thing that's in my head for the whole week. I'm not sure if I got scammed. I'm not sure if I'm not sure what that really means. Let me break it down for you. Right, like there's this one. It's been since Monday. All right, so there's this one time. Like 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks. I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was taking the train back home. Right, we call it the MRT. The new, I believe it's like the New York way of calling it the subway, the London's tube, the Melbourne's metro, things like that. Right, when I took a train back home, when I reached my station, I walked down the station. There's this Chinese couple, right, slightly older Chinese couple around the age of 40-ish, late 40-ish, I guess, late 40-ish to early 50s. They walked over, they say hi to me, and he needs money for a bus ride back to Malaysia. All right, and he says, hey, can I have? He says that, hey, can I have $70? I have a place to stay in Malaysia, and I was doing some dealings there, right? And I didn't bring enough money. Oh, my wallet got dropped. I couldn't remember which one, right? I think his wallet got dropped. I need money back to where he stays in Malaysia, or where he has business dealings there. And he asked, hey, can I have $70? I told him I can't. I do not have it. But since and the way he asked me is it's really weird. If I don't give him the money, I feel guilty of not lending him the money. You get what I mean? It's like, because I brought up in this culture where if you beg for money from someone, it's gonna be your ego has to be bruised. You have to be at the very bottom when someone asks to borrow money. Right? He looks like in his late 40s, early 50s, and to go down the ego of just borrowing $70, I guess. To that I don't know. I don't find begging or asking for a loan easy. Right? My parents is against people who's begging for money. Like, and I'm the one to go. And I've tried doing flag days before. Flag days is where when you're young, go and ask for money, and they give you sticker and stuff. Right? And this is very prominent in Singapore. Right, where you ask for money from strangers just so they can help an organization that you don't really know, right? And they say, hey, can you just and I do not have the I'm not sure whether it's my ego, whether it's my dignity. uh uh I I I, I find it very hard to ask for money, right? So there's this Chinese couple walked over, say hi, asked whether they can borrow money. I said I do not have enough. I only have my last 50 with me for that week, because I was in a very bad place myself, right? I like, okay, not a very bad place, right? But I do not have much myself at the point of time. I only have 50 in my bank account. So I went down. So I said, hey, you know what? I can only I can only lend you 50. But I have to go to a bank, and they followed me to the bank. They have to wait for me outside the bank, and it's a very very long walk, right? Okay, maybe a 5 minutes walk, right? But still, I believe the ego, you have to walk to ask a person for money, and yeah, and then all this kind of stuff, and then after they say, hey, I'll pay you back your money. I'll give you, I'll invite you for a meal and pay you for money. I hope that it's really okay. and I didn't hear from them since. I really didn't hear from them since. I think they tried to give me a call. We exchanged numbers, and it seems like she gave like his numbers from China, Hubei, China, which to me is really weird because he says that he stays in Malaysia. Why don't you get like a Malaysian number, right, permanently? This is my afterthought. After I gave him money, I came back home about 30 minutes later when I reached back home. That's what I think. I'm not sure what does that prove to me. I don't know what this story makes me. I don't know. Like he says that he'll call me back by since like the next week, but it seems like 3 weeks later there's no money from him. There's nothing that I hear from him. I don't know. I'm not sure. Is it like a shitty move for me to tell in a podcast, to tell in a story in a podcast where everyone knows? Right, I'm not going to give out what the name of the guy is because I don't remember his name. But that happens. All right. And I don't know. It because I felt shitty initially. I feel like hey, maybe you shouldn't tell the story in a podcast. But then again, if he will not listen to this, I don't think so. He doesn't seem to be caught up in the idea of podcasting. But yeah, so and then I don't know I don't know why, right? I don't know if that's okay to say it up in a podcast. I don't know. Like I already prepared to be scammed. I already prepared that, hey, this guy is asking for money. I'm not sure why I gave him the money. I think I feel bad. But yeah, I think I feel bad. Like his ego is I think that's why. Am I very gullible? I don't know what kind of person I am, right? To get, I don't know what kind of person that I'm trying to present myself as. To make it sound a little bit. What kind of person am I? To be honest, what's your thoughts in me being that person? I don't know. I don't know. I don't really care about the $50 that was the end for the week. I don't know. I may have the 50 for me right now. I may have. Oh, it's a little bit weird for me to consider the fact that, hey, it's not $50. It's just a $50 that it's not a big amount of money. I mean, yes, if you have $50 and you go to and you do some and you can do great with that $50, right? I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah. So okay, let's just talk about this episode, right? In this episode, I had a good friend of mine, that's based in Hong Kong, a comic that's based in Hong Kong, Jim Brewsky. I'm not sure whether he's still based in Hong Kong, but he's a very good friend. He's a good friend of mine. He said yes to this podcast very steady, very quickly. Yeah. So he came to Singapore a couple of times. I'm not sure how many times he come now. I have this impression that he comes on more, at least quite a few times, right? That I maybe didn't register. I think, yeah. So he was performing in Singapore for a couple of times, but I only watched like twice, right? Yeah, which I find really weird. Like I've known him for about 4-5 years now, and I only watched him twice, which I'm really surprised, right? And then he is a very funny person. He's a very funny guy. I'm not sure whether he's still based in Hong Kong or he's based in the States, right? And this podcast, I get to learn a lot more about him. I didn't know that he was teaching. I only know that he performed in Hong Kong. And I didn't know that he performed for such a short time, right? It's really crazy. It's really crazy for me to find out a lot more about him. It's really interesting. He's a very funny guy. His name, I'm gonna repeat again, is Jim Brewsky. Alright, so check out this episode of Not a Game Podcast. We'll have a very fun conversation. This is a good conversation I had with Jim Brewsky. Enjoy.
like this is like the start of a podcast, and I always feel a little bit awkward in starting a podcast.
No problem, because this is a conversation between friends, so we're all good, brother.
Okay, and okay. Look, I just want to ask, right?
Okay.
I think like that's the appropriate way to start any conversations, like the flight of you coming over.
Yeah.
Because it seems like you guys you have been flying all over. Like, do you get used to it? Do you?
Now I am. I've done so many miles recently that now I'm like some Premier Platinum Star Alliance member, so that means I get like an extra 2 inches of space. And interesting enough, that's exactly what my wife said. So yeah, I get to fly a little bit more comfortable now. And for example, this show I took a direct flight from San Fran, so that was like 15 plus. Yeah. It's long, but it's worth it. I mean, I'll travel the world for comedy, and that's
But is that wait, did you travel from San Fran to here?
Yep. I directly from San Fran to here. Landed this morning. Maybe got like 3 hours of sleep, and then hanging out, getting psyched up for tonight, and then hit that stage.
And I realized like doing like comedy full time, like it's like doing airplane jokes are hack.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that I think that have been done to death, and if you're gonna do them, you better do them in a very interesting, fresh, new way. I think everyone's tired of airline flight, but I'm not interested in doing a joke about flying or airplanes. I'd rather, talk about the people that I meet on those flights, or just some other aspect. There are just some topics that have been done to death, and part of my journey in comedy is just to find my own voice and find those things about me or my experience, and try and share that with the audience.
But how like do they? Because it seems like everyone has been doing like, is that airplane jokes are hack, like airplane have been done to death.
Yeah.
But there's, I don't know. It feels like because it's like being a comic, you have to travel so much.
Yes.
That airplane is like when you walk into the immigration checkpoint,
right?
And you're gonna, I met you last week. Do you remember me?
Yeah. Like for me, when it comes to travel jokes, airplane jokes are probably hack. But what happened in immigration? What happened in customs? What happened? All of these other experiences in the airport. When you checked in your bag, did you lose a bag? Did you get somebody else's bag? I think all of that stuff is a lot more interesting than I was sitting on the plane for 15 hours and
I know because it feels like being on the airplane is like the only thing that we do right now. Like just because I just traveled, and then it feels like traveling is such a
you know what? I'm weird though. I love travel. I love it. I mean, I know it gives me, that's 15 hours for me to get in my head. That gives me 15 hours to refine or like play with a punchline that I've been thinking about. It gives me 15 hours to just take, it's almost like meditation. It's like 15 hours of just chilling. And the thing that's weird is that I'm not looking at a movie, I'm not watching a TV show, and the person next to me is looking at like, what the right? This guy for 15 hours, he didn't get up to pee, he didn't eat his meal, he's just staring into the nothingness of space. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I do.
Hey, I think that brings me, I don't know, I like staring into the nothingness.
Right.
Like it's a good time for you to either reflect and be like a kung fu master, or
get a little Nietzschean, right? Stare into the nothingness until the nothingness stares back into you, right? Yeah.
So when people say that, it's very scary that he's staring into nothingness, I'm like, no.
Right? They're like, do you want a meal? No. Do you have to get up to use the bathroom? No, I'm okay.
He's finding his Zed.
Right? Somebody help! I want to change my seat. Yeah. I do. For 15 hours, I don't move. I'm like, I know it's very scary, but I'm like catatonic on a flight. I'm just there. I'm just like, I'm feeling the magnetic poles of the earth just pass through me, and I'm thinking of bits and jokes that I'm like, I hate the way I delivered that last time. How can I do it? How can I do this? How can I do that? And I'm thinking about the people I'm going to see when I get here. And yeah. I'm just in my head. And that, for me, that is one of the rare moments when that's all I can do, and I really appreciate that because there's no one else around. There's nothing else to do. Just get in your head. So yeah,
I don't know, but traveling, I don't know. It's just because I didn't travel much.
Okay.
Or if I travel regularly, but I don't travel much. I guess that's I'm not sure if you understand it.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much like, oh, this is like this is one time when I traveled like a year.
Right.
Like that. Oh, I traveled once a year, but
Right.
every time I travel, it's like a long weekend.
Right.
Like, no,
Right.
not just long weekend. It's just a long travel.
Right.
Right. Pretty much like 2 weeks at a time, 3 weeks at a time.
Right.
And there's this guy go, oh my god, that's scary. That scares the shit out of me.
Well, yeah.
You're able to do that?
Yeah, I think part of it is just the experience. I mean, just, part of it comes for me, just being an American. When you're in Singapore and you travel 3.5 hours, you're in Hong Kong, you're in Taiwan, you're someplace new. In America, when you travel 3.5 hours, you're in America. When you travel 5 hours, you're in America. When you travel 9 hours in a flight, you're in America. You can almost get to Europe from here in 9 hours. You know what I mean? So, like, if I'm flying, to Hawaii, guess what? I'm still home. So the idea of long travel or stuff for us, I think it's a little bit different, right? So the idea of travel, of long travel, everything is long for us. To get to the next state is long for us. To get from Miami to New York, whew, I did that drive, and it took me 24 hours non-stop. I only stopped for gas and to use the bathroom, to stretch my legs, no more than 10 minutes at a time, because I just needed to get to New York to do a show, and I was too cheap to fly. So, and I had a rental car that I had to return to New York. So I drove 24 hours non-stop from Miami to New York, doing 60, 70 miles per hour, and that's how long it took me to get there.
Wait,
So-
did you do it alone?
Yep, that was me. Yeah.
But how?
I was high on freaking Red Bull, and oh man, I thought I was gonna die. Yeah, and my brother was on FaceTime, and he FaceTimed me like it was crazy. He would FaceTime me and then go to bed and wake up in the morning, and I'm still driving, and he would FaceTime me. So he did what he did to keep me up. And so I have a bit about these rednecks and driving off the road, and that actually did happen during this drive from Miami to New York. So so at least you get some material. Yeah.
But it's really amazing to like think you have to drive out 24 hours because
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Seriously, I think the furthest place you can drive here maybe takes 2 hours or something from end to end with traffic. Maybe. Yeah.
and then because to me 2 hours drive is very. I'm exhausted. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck. There's like this is the amount of people that I'm gonna meet today. Like this is the energy that I have.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like oh.
Yeah. There's a few comics from Asia that were like, "Hey Jim, I want to come out to America and do like a road trip where I travel from New York to LA and just stop and do like as many comedy clubs along the way." And I'm like, "Do that, but that's gonna take like 2 weeks. That's a long way." But it's fun. It's worth it. Yeah. In fact, that's another thing I want to work on. Another project I'm working on is the comedy road trip. And for that, I'm going to bring over some guys. I'd like to bring you. I'm definitely bringing Sam over, where we just get in a car. That's Sam C, everyone. One of my top favorite Singaporean comedians. Where we just get in a car and we line up some shows across America, and it's me and some international comics just doing comedy across America and seeing, can we make people laugh in the countryside? Can we make people laugh not in the big cities that you've ever heard of, but in the places that you've can never dream exist, So that's one of the projects I'm working on.
But is it like, have you ever tried that in the countryside?
Yeah, I have. I've done shows in the Midwest, and strange enough, the Midwest is a lot easier than doing New York.
Really?
Yeah, New York, LA, whew, yikes, because they've seen it all, right? So, but it's fun. I like doing shows in the Midwest, Chicago, Minneapolis, St. Louis. That's hot. I love it. Yeah.
But I always thought that Chicago has been like done like Chicago is like after LA, like New York, LA, and then Chicago.
Yeah, let's see. It would probably New York, Boston, LA, San Fran, then Chicago, I think. Yeah. Or maybe Vegas, then Chicago. Yeah, Vegas definitely before Chicago. So Chicago's in the top 10, but I know a lot of comics that are based in Chicago, and once they get to the feature level where they're opening for big guys, the first thing they do is they move to a bigger market. They move to LA, New York.
But have you done?
Yeah, I'm a feature. I'm a regular feature at a couple places. At least I'm on their websites as features. But feature. I'm a regular feature at Acme. I'm at Zanies, and yeah. And when I'm lucky, I can get up in places in New York and LA.
Oh, because I've seen you like pictures with George Wallace.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I feature for George Wallace, who is the most amazing, hardest working comedian I've ever seen in my life, and not only that. He never bombs. Never. He never has a cold. Never has a cold audience. Never. This man is 100%. And I heard a story that even Chris Rock said, anybody can have a bad night except for George Wallace. Yeah. George Wallace is amazing. If you can see him live, do it. I mean,
but what's the experience like? Like, do you feel like there's a pressure going on him? Like what's the emotional?
George Wallace is he's like my godfather. So he is you have, it's almost, comedy is like apprenticeships. It's almost like where you get a master and you learn from a master. And when you've learned enough from one master, then you go to one that's even higher. And it would take me a lifetime or maybe two to learn half of the stuff that George Wallace can do. But for me, I want to play amongst the best. So I want to learn from the best and learn from people who have been there. I'm not saying I'll be amongst the best, but I'd like to be able to hold my own. So that would be enough for me. There's different guys that are out there that, I want to do my own hour. I want to do my own hour. You know what? I want to do a murderous 30 minutes, smash and destroy, and then let the star get up and do an hour. I'm not interested in. A lot of people want to do an hour. I'm not interested in an hour. I'm not. I'm interested in a good time, and for me, anything after 30 minutes, I get bored. I'm bored on stage. I want to have a good time. I want to have as much of a good time as I hope the audience is having, and for me, sometimes I hate the sound of my own fucking voice. And after 30 minutes, I've had enough of myself, But I would rather have a destructive nuclear 30 minutes than, hey, that was a really good hour. Nah, I'm not interested in it. And I think that format, say what you will, it's a new generation. These young people, their attention span is changing. I don't know. I've heard in some circles, maybe not everyone, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just repeating gossip, but that 1 hour format, how long can that last? Young kids today, they're not interested in sitting someplace and listening to you for an hour. They're just not. It's just not their attention span. But if you can capture them for 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes, I want to appeal to who's coming, and I want them to have a good time. So, formats change, and I think the 1 hour format is going to change.
But that's really refreshing coming from I've known a lot of guys who wants hey, I want to do an hour. I want to do an hour and a half. I want to do like a special and present it on Netflix. And I'm not really sure about that. I'm saying, hey, do take your time about it.
Right.
And get yourself to expose as much as you really, really want.
Right.
And get exposed to the kind of audience that you can get.
I'm interested in there's back in vaudeville they used to have the Laurel and Hardy, Cheech and Chong. I'm not interested in an hour of me. I'd rather do 30 minutes of me, 30 minutes of Sam C. That to me is a great fucking show. That
very good half of a show.
No. But to me, I think that No, I think the audience would love that. I think they would love that. Yeah, you come for an hour, but you're gonna get this. You're gonna get this mix. An hour of me. Oh my God, my wife doesn't even want that.
So I'm gonna imagine like your wife, like 30 minutes of you. Okay, I gotta go get a drink. I'll be back in half an hour and just
go get Sam C.
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
The good thing with the hour with let's say more American comics, the hour is basically an hour of stand-up. However, let's say for your British and Australian comics, an hour is not just stand-up. There's storytelling. The whole thing has a theme behind it. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. There's definitely different formats to that. I've definitely heard British comics say this, and I'm not sure if it's an insult, but they say Americans are style over substance and British comics are substance over style. So American comics get up there and they're flashy and they're booming, the pound, the boom, the pound, about ha ha ha. And what they say might not be very deep, and then British comics will get up there and they have very deep topics, and they'll get up there and they'll say these things and they'll twist their words and they'll play wordplay and all these things. And that's substance over style. I've heard it either way. But I've seen someone like Steve McGrew who will get up there and just hit it punch after punch after punch after punch after punch for a whole hour. I've seen guys that get up there and tell great stories like Dan Soder. He gets up there and just will tell you 5 stories that last an hour, and he's amazing with punches, but he's just amazing. And then I've seen people like Mike E. Winfield. If you haven't seen him, get to him, who mixes it up. So I am a fan of British comedy. I'm a fan of all comedy, but I don't know. I think comedians like the 1 hour format. I think club owners like the 1 hour format. But I think there's room and hunger in these younger generations and opportunities to dream of something different, bigger, and give it to them in bite sizes that they want.
I don't know. I think that it's a different gameplay between 30 minutes and an hour. 15 minutes and 30 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
5 minutes and 15 minutes.
Absolutely.
Right? It's all different gameplays.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like it depends on how you work on it.
Absolutely. And I've seen, you've always seen comics that they have an hour. Is it a killer hour? They have a killer 30 minutes and 30 minutes of filler. You know what I mean? And that's fine, whatever. They still have an hour and they're professionals. And who am I to say anything about that? But I'm hungry for 30 minutes of killing. I want, at the end of that, I'd rather have 30 minutes where I'm trying to catch my breath. I'm hungry for more. I want more. I'd rather leave someone wanting more than leave someone saying, "Oh, that was pretty cool. That was a great time. I've had enough." Yeah.
I get it. Okay, I'm gonna ask a little bit like a bland question.
No problem.
No, it's like everybody have been asking, like still. I'm thinking of like bland, like BLAND. All right, Sam.
BLEND.
AND. It's A. All right, so. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna ask, right? Like I believe a lot of people have asked you, like, have you tried comedy, or when is the first time that you've done comedy?
The first time I did stand up was in 2002, May, an open mic, May 2012. Sorry, May 2012 was the first time I did.
Hong Kong or the States?
Hong Kong.
May.
Yeah, May 2012.
You've been in comedy in less time than I have. After the 1st April 2012.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. But we're still in the same class. We're still in the same group. Yeah. No. But May 2012 was the first open mic, and then it took me. I was working on bits it took me 3 months to get a solid 3 to 5 minutes. So after that was it. I open mic'd completely for 3 months, and then I would get maybe like one show a week at 3-minute sets for the next 3 months. So I didn't have a solid 5 for 6 minutes. For 6 months. Sorry, for 6 months. It took me 6 months to get a solid 5, and then from there, I just my goal was, and still is, I need to get back to this. Getting lazy, just like I'm getting fat. But my goal is my goal was, if I could come up with one bit, just one bit a week. You know, I have 5 minutes, just one bit a week, and eventually that 5 will get to 10, and that 10 will get to 15, and that 15 will get to 20. So that was my goal. So I would do the 5. Okay, I got that. Let me try one more minute, and then try one more, and let's try this, and just see how far that goes. And if you do that, then at the end of a year, you have, you know, that's 50 minutes of material for that year. Add in some crowd work, that's an hour. So if you want to be the comic that does an hour, you just need 1 new minute per week. That's it. And you'll have an hour by the end of the year. But it's just that if that's your interest, and is it going to, you know, work on that 1 minute until it's a material. But, you know, yeah, that's just one philosophy. Who am I to give advice?
But that's like, you have to come up with 1 new minute, 1 good new minute.
Yeah, you have to live comedy. You have to love comedy. You have to constantly be writing, writing every day. Like, you know, you might think of 20 new bits a day, just writing. You know, like, you wake up in the morning and you spend 1 hour. I'm gonna write this. Just write them out, and you test those in the fire, and out of all that stuff you wrote that week, my experience is if you're writing every day, you'll at least get 1 bit a week. You will. But then you have to refine the bit. It's not necessarily a good bit, but you'll get something, right? The only thing is you just have to have the opportunity to open mic it in front of real audiences and stuff like that. Now, that being said, I am a very slow writer. I write stuff, and I hate the stuff I write. Sometimes I chicken out. I'm like, I'm not going to say that. I just, you know, sometimes my self-esteem and what I write, I'm just like, nah, I'm not. That makes me laugh, but I don't think it's going to make anyone else laugh. And, so I play with those demons myself. But as a philosophy that I hope to follow myself, just aim. Whether or not you succeed, just aim for one minute a week. Just 1 minute, you know. And that 1 minute can come with, you start off telling a story. So I was in Singapore, and I was visiting my best friend Sam. And while I was there, something weird happened. Right, that I just said was like 10 seconds there, right? So you just slowly story, get into the joke, then punch, you know, a minute. But whatever. Doesn't work, not all the time, but we all have to have goals. Aim for something, you know. Aim for the stars. And for me, a fresh minute a week of a material is that star.
But it feels like I couldn't write a fresh minute a week, and that really scares me. Like,
that's what I think it needs to do. I think it needs to scare us. I think we have to be scared. Like, oh my gosh, no one's gonna find this funny, and then they do, and you're like, wow, okay. And that's the thing. Like, I might come up with, like, I spend the whole week writing. I'm like, this is a minute I'm gonna try, and then nothing, right? But I tried it. That's 1 week that I attempted. That's all. It's the attempt that we're doing, right? Whether or not we get it, that's up to the audience. But right, yeah.
I don't know. It feels a bit like that. Like, there are a lot of bits that I want to try, and then I think that there's a lot of, like, requirement of, like, polishing.
Yes.
And then I always see my bits growing, and then decrease, like it like.
Yeah.
Have you seen pufferfish? Like,
right. Yes. Yes. That happens. I think that happens to us all, and then we go and rely on our old stuff, which is fine. It's all about the audience having a good time first, and then ourselves having a good time second. That's what I feel. Now, I've heard people say, no, it's all about us having a good time on that stage, and if you have a good time, then the audience will. I've seen a lot of comedians having a good time on stage, and no one was laughing. So maybe it's just my background in teaching and putting students first, putting the audience first. But for me, I want to tell my stories that I hope the audience will connect with and laugh about before I put myself before the audience.
Okay, I'm gonna, like, step in a bit and ask, like, you did the reason you did teaching and like. Is it adults or is it like children? And is it like
adults? I mean, teaching university level, 18 to graduate students.
What major? Like, what's?
English, technical writing, things like that. I mean, in different faculties for different things, program development, curriculum development, things like that. So
basically, it's like very very structured writing, very
yeah. Academic, research, dissertation, theses writing, stuff like that. Reading and writing specialist is what I was. So yeah.
So I'm suppose like it's easier to transit across because we know all the
Is there no? I think it's two different worlds, and I enjoy this one more. I think it's two different worlds. Absolutely, I enjoy the world of comedy much more than I enjoyed being in the classroom. But that being said, I loved being in the classroom. So it was just like when you do something you love, and you find out, oh my God, there's something I love even more than that. Addiction. Right? Yeah.
But we're gonna ask like what's the feeling like in the classroom, in the Hong Kong classroom then?
I always had a good time. Students had a good time. I put the students first. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's happening in because for me if I would have been like in Singapore classroom, so everyone sit down and no one will speak.
Oh no, I break them up. I make sure that doesn't happen. I mean, I've taught in Japan. I've taught Japanese students and Korean students, Chinese students, and that's the first thing I break up on the first day. I'm like, yes, this is your culture, but in this classroom, it's America. And we're going to do things differently here. And it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. But at the end of this course, you will be a better student. And you will have skills that you need that's going to take you further than whatever grade you get in this class. And that's the first thing I always instilled in students.
So basically, it's learning before. Like, you have to start speaking up. You have to start...
Yeah, just basically building a culture for the classroom before you even start the first lesson. Yeah.
But how did you just tell them or do you start is there any way opening
one thing I used to do is I would have students, especially in Asia, Chinese students, they'd come the first day, they'd have all the notes printed from online, they'd have the syllabus, and I'd stand up, I'd take a garbage can and I walk around the classroom and I say, take all that shit and throw it away right now. Right now, throw it away. This is not that type of class. That's not how you learn in this class, right? You learn by living the materials. You're not going to learn just by reading it, regurgitating it. Study alone is not the way that you're going to improve in my class. You're going to apply this stuff. You're going to learn it and you're going to apply it. And you're going to do it right in front of me, and I'm going to give you feedback to make sure you got it. And jaws dropped. What? I've never had a teacher that told me to throw away the notes. Yeah, exactly. Like, what do you need notes for? That's what I'm here for. I'm living notes. I'm going to teach you this stuff. The only thing you have to do is be present, be awake, and participate. Listen, because I'm going to make this stuff fun. And if you have fun in my class, you will learn it.
Because coming from an Asian part, coming from Asia, it's like this is really different, right? Because
it's very different. My students are shocked. I've had students who, after the first day, I've had students who switched to another class because they just felt uncomfortable with my style. They're like, I don't know if I can survive in that kind of classroom. And at the end, and always, every last one of them, it's always happened by the middle of the semester, I see them begging to come back into my class. I dropped your class and I moved to a different section, but my friends stayed in your class and they're having a great time and their scores are better than mine. Can I transfer back to your class? And I'm like, no, you had your chance. That was it. Our class dynamics, our culture in the classroom has already been established, so we can't rock that boat. So we're going forward. Everyone has a role. Everyone knows what they're doing and how we engage the materials in the classroom. And it would be too remedial and slow for me to get you up to speed. So I tell them, good luck in the class that you chose, right?
Because I remember going to a class where I really, really hate. Yeah. Like the lecturers is reading.
Oh yeah.
Reading off hey. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. So the lecturers are reading off the screen.
Yeah.
And then
it's horrible. It's horrible.
It's really crazy.
Horrible. I've never had a student fall asleep in my class ever.
Really?
Never had a student fall asleep in my class. I've had students that worked all night shifts and told me, they came to class and said, "Sir, I'm sorry, I have a part-time job to help pay for school, and I worked an overnight shift, and I just got off work and I came to class, and I just didn't want to miss your class, but I'm sorry if I fall asleep in class." And they don't fall asleep. They don't fall asleep. I keep them so engaged, and yeah.
My God, that's really scary.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, but we have a good time. And they learn the materials, which is the most important thing.
Okay, because okay, now I'm really curious about what's happening in your class right now.
Oh yeah, it's a scene. I mean, I'm moving, I'm shaking, I'm dancing, I'm using the computer, I'm using the board. Students are moving, they're engaged with each other, they're doing stuff. It's learning as performance. It's no matter what it is. If it's writing, if it's anything can be done in an engaging way. Even math, I don't care what it is, it can be done. I'm all about pushing the paradigm and finding new ways to do things in engaging ways. So that's what it was all about. And all of my evaluations year after, I've never had poor evaluations. Student feedback, administrators who observe my class always had positive things to say. And that was it. But that was a different life.
But how long have you been teaching? Like teaching?
Oh boy, about 18 years. I was a university instructor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because it seems like I've said teachers who got really jaded in
oh right.
So.
Yeah. No. I taught at university level for about 18 years. Yeah.
So it's like 18 non-stop years of teaching. So I'm like, oh my God, this is really crazy.
Yeah.
To think like you have so long, you have 18 years of teaching.
Yeah.
It's like 18 years. It's like a grown man. Like
I mean, I started when, even before I graduated undergrad, I asked professors and I got special permission to be a teaching assistant in undergraduate classes, and it's always been something that I was interested in doing. So I started. Oh man, when I was like 19, 20. Yeah.
Shit. But how is it from young that you know that hey, you want to be teaching, then, or is it from young that you know that you want to be in that you want to be a comic, or is it from young that you know, hey, what's your first ambition that you see yourself in?
That's a good question. I think teaching and comedy are possibly two manifestations of the same desire, and that's to connect with people on a stage in front of them, and to help them and to make them in some way make their lives better. The way they enter, they're different when they leave. They're either smarter or better or happier or something like that. So I think it's just two different ways to manifest something in myself of how I want to connect with people. Yeah.
I don't know, because it feels like it's like to be teaching itself, or maybe my impression of teaching. It's like the teacher's very jaded in life. The teacher's not getting anywhere in life. He or she's not getting anywhere in life, and then you have to face children. You have to face kids after kids after kids after kids.
Yeah.
And and she had the impression that the kids hate her, and it's like. But they don't want to learn. They're always interested in the newest technology around.
I think I think some teachers just approach learning in a way that is not helpful for themselves or their students. I think just some teachers take themselves too importantly. When you're a teacher, it's not about you. It's not. It's about the materials, and it's about the students. It has nothing to do with you. You are the vessel, the vehicle by which knowledge enters the lives and the minds of people who are learning. But I think some teachers take themselves too importantly. I'm the teacher. I'm the professor. This is all about me. This is my class. And I always first thing I told my students, this isn't my class. This is your class. I already have my degrees. This is your class. How do you want your class to be? Do you want a boring class where I'm just up here telling you things and you're recording it on your notebooks all year? Or do you want your class to be awesome? Do you want to be engaged? Do you want to be excited to come to class? And I give them a survey the first day, the first meeting, because it's their class, and that's how I approach it. And I think that makes a difference.
I think it's really scary as well to hear teachers to go, hey, this is your class, guys, come on, let's enjoy the class, because we are not built into that.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, this is your class. No, it's not. I paid although I paid the lessons, my parents paid the class, but maybe not. Maybe I'll try to be as quiet as possible, and I'll be shy as possible. Hoping the girl sitting next to me, the cute girl sitting next to me, notice me. Well, I'm still alright. You know what? I'm cool. like I'm cool. Like I'm okay with if you don't look at me. I'm not a jock in the class.
Right.
Yeah. So or at least that's just me projecting my image out. Right. Yeah.
Right.
So that's the idea of a class that I have in Asia or in Singapore.
I mean that's a lot of, in my experience, that's how a lot of students initially approach learning when they come to the classroom, but that's the first thing I break. And that's why all of my classes always had a waiting list.
Really?
Yep. Every class I taught, I had students trying to get in, to the point that the last university I taught at in Hong Kong, the department head made a rule where send out this email where we don't allow students to make changes to their schedules, and this older British gentleman, I shouldn't even call him British. He was in Hong Kong when it was still part of the empire, so he was an imperialist. So so many students were contacting the department office asking to switch to my class, that other teachers were being offended, and they just didn't want to deal with that. So they made a rule: no, we assign you to your classes, and that's it.
You can't move back. But do you only take one class? Do they only take like?
One class with me that semester. So I had students who were like, okay, I won't sign up for that class this semester in the hopes that I can take it with you next semester. So I had students play the Russian roulette of class scheduling just to try to get with me.
But did the word spread out? Like the students are, how do they get I suppose you are not teaching the freshmen.
No, I'm teaching freshmen.
But how do they get the word? How do they hey, you know what?
When they come for their orientations and they talk to older students and they say, hey, I have to sign up. They're like, make sure you get Jim for this class. Make sure you get, you have to take this class. Make sure you get Jim. Try as hard as you can to get Jim. Find out what his schedule is. And then, so there were times when students would ask, they would ask permission to be in my class and then approach the department and say, hey, I need to register for this class, but I already talked to the professor and he said I should be in his class.
Okay, sure. Okay, and I think I'll add. Okay, I'm gonna end off with one last question.
Okay, no problem.
About saying asking okay, so I suppose that doing transition from stand up to from teaching to stand up, it won't be that difficult for you.
Teaching to stand up, believe it or not, before stand up I was much more of an introvert. I know it doesn't make sense, but I was one of those people that I loved helping students in the classroom and doing all that. But if you saw me in the hallway,
I can see that.
Right. Yeah. So comedy did help a lot. It changed a certain aspect of me. But even then, even now, after doing a set, I'm not going out to party. I'm hanging with friends. I'm hanging with people that I want to hang with on a small scale. If you see me hanging with more than 2 people, then know that I am very uncomfortable. That's just who I am, even to this day. And it was probably worse when I was just teaching.
Because I can't get it. Like after the show, although even if I do a good set or a bad set, I can only hang up the comics. Because we do know each other languages. Right. We kind of talk to each other.
Yeah.
And if there are females around, go, oh my god, what the fuck.
Well, the fans are always awesome. Anyone who appreciates what I do, I love and I appreciate that. One thing I always do is there's the comedians who opinion I trust, I go to them or I look to them while I'm performing, and if they're smiling, which I saw, if they're smiling or they're like, I'm like, okay, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. That's what I'm looking for on stage. So it might look like I'm looking at the audience, right? But no, tonight I'm looking to see if, for example, tonight I'm looking to see if Sam is laughing. I'm looking to see if Umar was laughing. I'm looking. Okay, Umar laughed at that one. Okay, I'm doing good. Sam is smiling. I'm doing all right.
This guy gave me my validation. I'm cool for life.
Yeah,
I'm cool for life.
Yeah. Because I for whatever reason, I trust their opinions about my performance, and they've seen me do crap, and they've seen me do better on other days, and they are a good gauge of how well I'm doing. And and I trust their opinion. So that's what I'm looking for. It looks like I'm looking at the audience. Nope. Like tonight, stage left. Every time stage left, I was looking for Sam. Stage right, I was looking for Umar, who walked outside, had a cigarette, and came back in. But that's actually where I'm looking. It looks like I'm doing this, and I'm looking like, nope. And when I'm in Hong Kong, I'm looking at Jamie. I'm looking at Ben Quinlan. There are certain comedians that know my level of performance and when I'm hitting and when I'm not. So I'm looking. So yeah.
Maybe because it's very, it feels very. Because I always thought you have like a Jack Benny style of comedy.
Cool.
so because your face is like so expressive.
Cool. Thank you.
Like, oh my god, what the fuck?
Right.
Oh,
I can hide the fact that like I'm actually looking for my friends. Yeah.
I know. It's because it really perks my because I've seen you twice.
Okay.
So this is my second time. Sorry.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I think I remember that saying that. Oh my god, this guy's like Jack Benny.
Cool.
Cool. His facial impression.
Cool. I'll take that as a compliment. Absolutely.
Oh my god. I'm like,
Yeah. And my facial expressions came from me being uncomfortable. I used to not do them. And then I said a joke one time and I hated the way I said it. And I did a face. And then the audience laughed at the face. And then I hit another one. And I said it like, are they going to laugh at this? And they laughed. So the faces actually came from me being uncomfortable. It wasn't anything purposefully like, I'm going to make this face. That was my face of like, so I said, is that funny? Is that okay? Yeah.
Will that be okay with you? With my face? I will say it out loud.
Yeah.
I will let my securities out loud.
Right.
We know each other.
And that can mean a lot coming from Sam. Sam.
Yeah. So. All right, and I think with that note, I guess that it's okay to end the podcast.
Okay, cool.
It's like every comedy show that end with a high and go, yeah, it's the end.
No, this is fun. I love this. I love Singapore. I love being here with you guys. So thank you.
All right, thank you for doing this. Really, thank you very much.